Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Keto Mom page. It's a little late, depending on what time you follow me or what time I hop on normally, and it's okay, right? I'll tell you this. For those of you who've been following me for a while, I hope that you can realize, or I'll just let you know, my husband and I, have created over the years systems, right? So we get up at a certain time, we do a workout at a certain time, I read at a certain time, I do all of these things in the morning before my kids wake up. And then there are days that I don't. And so as you're tuning in, first of all, where are you tuning in from? And I want you to know there's no perfect anybody, and everything that you do is a choice, right? So last night we decided to stay up super late. We have some friends that came in from Oklahoma, so we live in Minnesota. We have some friends that are staying with us for a couple days. They are some of our mentors, incredible people. They're our spiritual mentors. They are our marriage and parenting mentors, and so they're staying with us, and we chose to stay up late. Therefore, we all rested because sleep is a weapon, and so we chose to sleep in a little bit longer. And now we're all just getting up. The kids are still sleeping. And so I want you to know that if your day doesn't go as you normally would have it go, right? Maybe you got up late, you accidentally hit the snooze, you didn't choose the best breakfast, whatever the case may be, it does not mean that you just throw everything out the door and go, all right, well, today's one of those days. No, I chose to sleep because I know sleep is powerful. We all were going to, and now I chose to push everything back a little bit, and I'm still going to do things this morning. I still read, I'm drinking my ketones, I'm doing my live. It's okay if things don't go the way that you want it to go. It's called being adaptable, right? So I don't know if I've talked about this on here, but like you've got an IQ, how smart you are, right? Depending on the test, right? It's called your IQ. This is not in the book, by the way. I'm just giving you a little extra this morning. You have an AQ and an EQ. So how is your AQ throughout your life? AQ is your adaptability. How well can you adapt to the situations, the challenges, the circumstances that happen mindset-wise, right? And then you have an EQ, which is your emotions. How well can you handle your emotions? And I like to say, either you react or you respond. Reacting is getting up in the morning, getting frustrated because I hit the snooze, I didn't get up and I didn't get all of my things done, and it's being crabby and letting my emotions take over. Or I have the awareness, I have a high AQ, I'm adaptable, I'm going to respond to the situation and I'm going to keep going. So as you're going throughout your days, think about like, oh, this is a great time for me to handle my EQ, my emotions. I'm going to think for a second, and I'm going to respond versus react, right? Or, oh, this is a great test to my AQ. I'm going to be adaptable today. I'm going to keep a smile on my face. I'm going to know that I'm not going to throw everything out the window today. I may have messed up this morning, but I'm going to keep going and make the day great. Make sense? So you've got IQ, EQ, AQ. Some people would say you have an SQ, which is your spiritual quotient. There's lots of different things on that realm you can talk about, but that is just a bonus this morning. EQ and AQ, where do you stand? I should do more of it. I've had lots of training in that, and I love that conversation. I'll have to do just a live on just that and give you more specific details because I think it's great. So today I'm being adaptable. I actually slept in. I feel great. Didn't do all of the things, but I'm catching up on my morning. So as you're tuning in, excuse me, how's your morning? And for those who are reading the book, Mindset Morning, we're doing Dream It, Pin It, Live It, creating vision boards, really writing out goals. What do you want to go after? What do you want to maybe accomplish at the end of this year? And some goals to truly go after in the next 12 to 18 months. Here is a saying that I love. Joseph McClendon III taught our business, our company this, and he says, as I think, so I feel, as I feel, so I do, as I do, so I have. It's something to just, as you're going through your day, like, oh, as I think, Why am I being cranky? What are my thoughts telling me? Why am I telling myself I can't do this? Because if I keep the negative up here, as I think, so I feel, I'm going to feel like garbage. As I feel, so I do. I'm going to make not the best choices. As I do, so I have. Results are going to come out of what I do, right? As I think, so I feel. As I feel, so I have. As I have, so I do. Just be aware of that. It starts right here. All right. For those of you who follow along in your books, we are on habit number 3, 125, chapter 9. For the last couple days, we have talked about different things that help create, to help give you more of a focus on going after your goals. Hopefully you have your goals written down. Hopefully you're starting to dream. Hopefully you've got maybe some pictures printed out. And she talks in this book about habit number 1. A couple days ago, we talked about the focus of listening. Yesterday, we talked about the focus of reading. And habit number 3, we're on page 125, is where to go. Where is it? All right, focusing on 3 priorities. So if you're just tuning in, my hope is that you just hear one thing and you take action. One thing, right? Here's what I'll tell you about learning from other people. You might not have gone through the entire book. Maybe you haven't been following a certain podcast for a long time, or maybe you start listening to something mid-life, right? When you listen and you watch and you learn and you read, think about, as you're listening, what's one thing that I can apply? What's one thing that I can go, oh, that was good. I should write that down so I can come back to it later, right? Oftentimes we take in so much, and you truly have to hear things 14, 15, 16 times before you go, oh yeah, oh, I want that, or I can do that, or you maybe take action. My challenge to you is anytime that you're reading or listening to somebody or something, think of like one quote, one thing, one action step, because the key is ultimately to take action on what you're learning, right? So maybe you're like, I didn't go through the book. It's all right. I bet you in this next 3 pages, there might be something that you can actually go, oh, I can apply that. All right. So she's talking about focusing on 3 things. She said, focus is the key word in this chapter. If you want to come to the end of this year with great results, then you must be highly focused. Focus is the opposite of distraction. And so in the beginning of this book, we started writing down 101 things, dreaming big. What do you want in your life, your whole life, until you are no longer here on this earth? Crazy things that you're like, deep down you might be like, that never would happen. But if it could, and money wasn't an option, and your time wasn't an option, what would you love to do and see and places to go and things to achieve? What would it be? So we started out by writing 101 things. And now we're going to dive into what are 10 to 12 things that you're like, yes, I can do that. Smart goals that you're going to put on a vision board that you could go, I'm going to give myself 12 to 18 months to accomplish, right? So we talk about like, let's create a board and what can you achieve in the next 12 to 18 months? I challenged everybody to pick 3 to 5 things you could accomplish by the end of the year. You've got 4 months to do it, right? So she talks about Warren Buffett a lot in these next few pages. He says Warren Buffett has a method to help him achieve his success. And here are some things that he said. He said, write out your priorities. I'll give you an example in a second. Narrow the list down to the top 3 and then throw away the rest. And she says, I don't really believe in throwing them away, but set them aside. So let's say you wrote down 10 goals or 10 priorities. Let's even say you wrote down 5 to 6 by the end of the year. I want you to narrow them down to 3, the top 3 priorities, okay? I want to lose. We'll talk about that in a second. So she says, when Warren Buffett was asked to boil the keys to his success down to one single principle, this was his shocking statement. He says, for every 100 great opportunities that was brought to him, he says, I said no to 99 of them. He attributes his success to his ability to say no. In other words, his ability to stay focused on what he truly wanted. And so that might look like, let's say you really want to lose 20 pounds by the end of the year. Your number one focus is I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to work out 4 to 5 times a week. I'm going to pack my lunch every day, and I'm going to meal prep every Sunday. If those are your priorities in your fitness area for the end of the month or the end of the year, that means if somebody says, let's say you have your meals planned and you're at lunch and somebody says, hey, let's go have a work meeting down the street. Your priority is either you bring your lunch and you stay focused, or you say, no, I'll meet with you when you get back, because you have priorities, right? You have focused goals. Nope, because I know that if I walk into that environment, I will eat something I don't want to, right? You know yourself. You know your triggers. So you say, hey, you know what? I'm going to stay here and work on something. I'll meet with you when you get back. That's saying no to something because you're focused. Does this make sense? Saying no to the birthday party if you know that you're like, oh, sorry, girlfriend, I just can't make it. I'll give you an example. We had a baptism at our house. We had our entire church out. There was 100 people. I don't even know. And we had a huge potluck, right? I had messaged a friend and I was like, hey, we missed you. Why didn't you come? And she was incredible. And she said, you know what? I know my triggers. Potlucks don't work for me. I'm really focused on my goals. And she's doing incredible. And so she said, that environment just doesn't work for me. So she says, I chose not to come. Right? Some people might go, well, that's rude. You should be able to have discipline. No, she knew her triggers. She knew what didn't work for her, and she was focused. Does that make sense? You guys, it's okay sometimes to say no, right? It's okay you're not hurting people's feelings, but you don't have to go to every party and every dinner lunch and every, you don't have to. If it's not working for you at the moment, until you learn and you have a handle of the discipline, you have a handle of your triggers, and you have a handle of those things that are in front of you that right now you can't say no to. So you've got to say no to something else. So that's what he says at the end of this. He says, all right, so decide what not to do is as important as deciding what to do. Deciding what not to do is just as important as saying what to do. If you have more than three priorities, you don't have any. That was from Jim Collins. So it says, what will you start saying no to in order to achieve your most important goals this year? So let's say that it's financial. Let's say that your goal is, I want to get out of debt. So she told a story, an incredible story about a very wealthy man. His name is Darren Hardy. And basically the story was this. He has 3 priorities. He's a billionaire, owns 300 companies. And she just told his story because she says somebody wanted him to come and speak. And they offered him like $250,000 for 1 hour of his time. And he said no. And the company was like, what does he want? Offer him $500,000. Tell him we'll come and pick him up in our jet. They wanted this man to speak at their conference, and he said no. And so they got on the phone with him, and his let's see, where does it talk about it? His people that are in charge of setting his schedule, right? They called them and they said, why in the world, what will it take to get him to come and speak? And the lady said, there's no fee. There's nothing that he will do to come and speak to you, because he has 3 priorities this year. And he said if they don't line up with those 3 things that he's focused on, he's not doing it. No amount of money will take him away from these 3 priorities. That's huge, right? And so you may have heard of the phrase the phrase that it's better to be world class at a few things than mediocre at most things, right? And so you're going to have seasons of life. You're going to have different things that you're focused on. And right now, whatever your season is and where you're focused, you've got to have priorities in that season, right? So in order for you to accomplish those goals, you're going to have to say no to some things, right? And you have to be focused, and you have to know, write it down, and be okay with that. Our dogs are barking, clearly. All right. Oh, my husband grabbed him. All right, so what can you focus on that will help you become world class at the dreams you're most passionate about? So all she did, and we'll end it with this, she gave an example of somebody that wanted to get out of debt, right? So they have 7 goals. They wrote down, I want to eliminate credit card debt, enjoy a Bahamas vacation, pay off the car, save $5,000, attain a real estate license, attend 2 success conferences, and read 12 books. So she said, all of those are great. Now I want you to narrow it down to the top 3 priorities, because in there's 3 things that if you do those, it will help all of the other goals. And she said, attend 2 success conferences because it's going to grow your mindset, read 12 books because it's going to grow you, and then obtain a real estate license because as you do those things, it will help all of the debt and the savings come into pass. As you set goals, as you learn from others, as you read, as your mindset grows, and as you attain the real estate license, everything else will fall into place. Make sense? So as you look at your goals, go, what are the top 3 that I need to narrow in and focus on that will help everything else align, right? What do you need to identify as your top 3 priorities that could dramatically impact the rest of your goals? That's what you need to do. So we're writing out goals, we're writing out dreams, we're going to start putting them on a vision board, and we're going to circle and go, what are the top 3 that will truly help the other ones fall into place? So we're ending on page 129. We're going to finish chapter 9 tomorrow, and then we've only got a couple more, and then we're creating the boards. If you haven't already started, totally fine. If you have started, keep going. I hope that you are enjoying this, and I hope that you got, even if you're not doing the book, I hope that there was one thing that I talked about that gave you like a, oh, I could do that today, or oh, I never thought about like that. Or maybe there's one thing you need to say no to, but you feel bad. But you know that if you do it or you go, I'll give you an example, financial, right? Maybe your goal is to get out of debt. Maybe that's on your vision board. Then a no you need to say no to, something you need to say no to is, I can't do my Target run every week. I know, as silly as it sounds, it's a real thing, right? Like my goal is to save $5,000, but I keep going to Target and spending more money than I want to, but oh, it's so great, but oh, that does not help, right? Oh, my goal is to lose, I was just talking to somebody today, she wants to lose 5 to 7 pounds. Like, let's relook at what you're up to. And if I know I'm going to go into the coffee shop and I can't help but grab that donut, then I can't go into the coffee shop until I reach my goal. And I have that trigger under control, right? I know I really don't want to go out to eat every single week, but I need to back up and say no to some things, and I need to make it a priority to plan my meals on Sunday. That's what I'm planned, so I don't go out to eat, right? So I hope it's helpful. I hope you're enjoying the book. Continue to tune in every single morning. If your day did not start out how you wanted it to, it's okay. It doesn't need to dictate the rest of your day. So smile, tell yourself you're amazing, and keep moving forward, making the best choices possible in any situation that you're in. So I'm always here to help. Message me with questions. I hope you have an incredible day, and we'll talk to you soon.